So let's throw that in CrackStation and see, hey, CrackStation, can we figure out what this is? Think you can unpixelate a password or maybe break into a locked CMS? Let's find out. Welcome back, hackers. Today we're tackling the HackTheBox machine called GreenHorn. It's a fun CDF filled with web exploitation, creative password recovery, and a privilege escalation. So here's what's in store. First, we'll uncover a password hash in a repo, which will give us access to an admin panel. And then we'll exploit a vulnerability in the content management system to gain a foothold. And then finally, we'll solve a unique challenge, unpixelating a hidden password in a PDF to grab that root flag. This video is really perfect for beginners learning CDFs or anyone really exploring HackTheBox. Now, if this sounds like you, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for more hacking content. Now, without further ado, let's dive right in and check it out. Now that we got the IP address, let's go ahead and throw it into the host file name. And to do that, we'll do a sudo nano etc host, and then we'll put in our Kali Linux password. And as you can see here, I've already set the IP address that HackTheBox gave me to the name of the machine. In this case, the name of the machine is GreenHorn. And then I did period.htb. And the reason why we're doing this early on is because I don't want to remember the IP address. I just want to remember GreenHorn. And it is a lot easier to reference that way. So I'm going to Control O for it to save in Nano. I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to Control X to exit out of it. And if you're ever lost in the commands for Nano, it is at the bottom, which is really user friendly. So now that we've saved it into the host file, let's just double check to see if we can actually reach it. Meaning, did we correctly set up our VPN in the first place, or did we forget? So let's ping it. And here we go. We're getting a response back to our ping. That is awesome. So I'm going to Control the C because that's going to indefinitely continuously ping it unless we can Control C it to stop it. Now that it's stopped, I'm going to clear it to keep the terminal nice and clean. And we know now going forward, yes, our VPN is set up correctly. We can reach it through ping. And now we can start doing our recon. In this case, we're going to be using Nmap. Now, the first Nmap scam that I like running is using the P flag here to indicate that I want to target all the 65,000 or so ports for the IP address that is set for the GreenHorn. And we're also doing a min rate of 10,000 because we're not worried about being detected on this scan since it is a simulated hack for HackTheBox. And here it goes. It finishes under 7 seconds, which is pretty quick. It's indicating 3 ports are open, 22 TCP open for SSH. So that's awesome. That kind of gives us a heads up indicator that maybe if we do get some credentials in the future that we can probably SSH into the machine. The other I'm seeing is 80 TCP for an HTTP. And if you know HTTP, that's usually websites. So that's related to web apps. So we know this is a web app machine. The other is a 3000 TCP, PPPP. Now from here, I like running the second Nmap scan. And instead of doing all ports, we're going to be very specific. We want to target the 22, the 80, the 3000, because we want to figure out what is PPP exactly, or what is HTTP, or what version of SSH is it. So we're running these particular flags to find out more information from our recon through Nmap. And we're going to be using this flag to save it to the Nmap scan. And if you noticed here, this is indicating that I have already created a HackTheBox directory and a directory called GreenHorn. And that's where the Nmap scan is going to be saved going forward. And now we're targeting not the IP address, we're targeting the greenhorn.hackthebox because that's a lot easier to remember? So I'm going to let that run and it's going to do its thing. Again, I'm going to show you on the screen a little bit more information on this particular scan and why the flags we are using for this scan. Now, while that's running and it's doing its thing, let's go ahead and start setting up our website. So let's go in the top left and launch Burp Suite. And the reason why we're launching Burp Suite first is because we've set up a proxy for Burp that when we launch our website without launching Burp Suite first, it's going to give us like an error. So we launch Burp Suite and now we can actually launch Firefox. All right, now that we got both running, let's go ahead and check out the website. So I'm going to do HTTP greenhorn.thebox. And there we go. So there is the website. Welcome to Greenhorn. Now, what I typically like doing is I like going into the page source to see exactly if there are any quick hidden tricks or information that we can find to kind of direct us in the right direction without having us really rabbit hole too deeply on it. In this case, we're seeing here some style sheets. And again, we're not diving too deep, but style sheets are pretty much just like the colors and the graphics and the fonts of a website. So we're not going to go into that. But what I'm noticing here are some links. So href is the links. We're seeing the welcome to Greenhorn, and that is the first page. We're also seeing welcome to the new junior. So that is a page built out. The other thing I'm noticing here in the footer, right, the div ID footer, which is at the very bottom of a website, we're seeing a login.php page for an admin. So now we know this website is built on PHP. And the other important information that we're getting is the fact that it is built by Pluck. And we're seeing here Pluck-CMS. CMS is Content Management System. It is pretty much the infrastructure or the structure of a website, kind of like WordPress, if you're familiar with WordPress. So we can actually go into that and see exactly what this is. And here goes. It is a GitHub for Pluck. And we can go into here and see, oh, okay. If we want to, we can dive deeper in this, but let's not get ahead of ourselves and dive too deeply into Pluck. We want to kind of see, okay, where are our attack vectors? Do we have a contact form? We don't. Now, the only option that I'm really seeing here is in the top URL, right? Where it shows us this question mark file for the particular page. So let's try what we've done in the past is let's try gaining access to maybe the Etsy password. And if it does work, maybe then that's probably our attack vector for this machine. Let's try it out and see what happens. And in this case, it's coming back with a hacking attempt has been detected for security reasons or blocking any code execution. So it looks like we're not able to get any type of code execution through the URL. So that sucks, but we know now, okay, that's probably not our attack vector. I guess the last option is the admin page. So everything is really directing us here to the admin page. And surprise, surprise, on an admin page, what do we find? We find a login page and where we can put in a password. But one thing that's popping up to me that's really odd is where's the username? So that's really odd. I guess Pluck has its own system of how to maybe log into the admin. But that's kind of a red flag if we don't have to put in any type of admin or we don't have to fingerprint the admin. It's already given to us. So all we have to worry about is the password. And we could try like password, see if that works. Or maybe Greenhorn. And it looks like those aren't working. So we're running into a dead end here. But let's just take a look at the page source. Maybe like there's a hard-coded password in there. Not likely to happen in the real world, right? Nobody hard codes their passwords in the source. So I'm not really seeing anything here, but I am seeing the Pluck 4.7.18. So maybe that's kind of like an indicator. Okay, we need to look to see if there's any type of vulnerabilities for the CMS system. But let's take it one step at a time. Let's go back to our Nmap scan that finished, and it looks like this one took quite a while. It took us 90 seconds for this Nmap scan. And it did give us a bunch of mess, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's scroll up at the top. Here it goes. So there is our scan. So we're getting more information now. We know, okay, here is the version for the SSH 8.9p1. Looks pretty up to date. I'm not sure there's any really vulnerabilities for that. But again, it is SSH. We know that if we get some type of credentials, there's an opportunity to SSH into this machine later down the line. All right, going into the ADTCP, and that's the website we're on right now. So coming back with the welcome to Greenhorn, that makes sense. And here's some interesting parts. The robot text, robots.txt is popping up. And it looks like it's showing us the data doc. So let's go back to the website and just double check that. So we're on the login now, robots.txt. Okay. So it is showing that user agent star. That means everybody. Disallow data and docs. So let's take a look at data. Data's just redirecting us. We're not able to access this, but it is showing us that it's on Nginx 1.18. That's another key piece of information we can save into our notes going forward, but not really seeing anything there. Let's refresh the login page. You have exceeded the number of login attempts. Please wait 5 minutes before logging in. That's very interesting. So just based on a refresh script, I think we've only tried it 2 times. So I guess because of the refresh, it thought we attempted it again. So that's a pretty strong indication that what this machine, or I guess this exercise, is telling us is we can't just brute force this password, right? Unless we really want to struggle and take a long time. I'm assuming maybe that number is going to increase, right? So, okay, we have that barrier. Okay, we need to move on. We're not going to brute force the password. All right. So let's go back into our Nmap scan. And remember, there was a third 3000 TCP open, right? So let's take a look at that. And here, okay, we're getting a bad request for something, but we're also getting a 200. And we're getting a set cookie, Gitea, okay? And we're getting another cookie here. So this is pretty great because we're getting a title. So it looks like this is another web app. So let's go back to the website. And instead of here, the login page, actually, let's go ahead and just copy this entire thing. Open up a new browser, and then we'll do port 3000. We want to see what's going on here. And it is completely new web app. So that's interesting. Let's take a look at this. I'm assuming then this is probably like the Pluck CMS side of it, right? So it's a painless self-hosted Git service. Okay, easy to install, cross-platform, lightweight. This sounds really great and awesome. Powered by version 1.21.11. So that is some key information. That's probably an information disclosure that they should not be letting us know, because why? We can start now searching that for any type of vulnerabilities. But let's go into the Explorer and let's see what's going on here. And it looks like it is a Git. Here's the Greenhorn. And we're getting access to this whole repository. Okay. So Pluck system content management system written in PHP. Awesome. So there's a bunch of information, but I guess from here we can really rabbit hole through all this, right? So I want to be more specific. Okay. Now that we're here, what do we need to do? What do we need to figure out? So remember, going back to the original page, we're getting a 5-minute timeout for this, right? So, and we're getting a password. So maybe we need to find some type of credentials that will allow us to log into the admin, because I'm not really seeing anything else, because we can't do any type of SQL testing or injection, because again, we're just going to run into those issues again that we're getting the please wait 5 minutes. So now that we know that, let's take a look. So data, and probably not in the images. Let's see here. Not in the CSS files. In the settings, maybe. Okay, so we're getting a token. We're getting a pass PHP. That's interesting. Okay, here we go. So we found something in the Greenhorn data settings, pass PHP. They are very generous in letting us find this pretty easily. So it looks like this seems to be some type of password, probably a hash password that we can crack to figure out what's going on. So now that I have copied that, let's go into CrackStation. I don't remember if it was the .NET. Okay, it was the .NET. So let's throw that in CrackStation and see, hey, CrackStation, can we figure out what this is? I am a robot. I am not a robot. All right, crack the hashes. So here we go. So CrackStation helped us out. It figured out this hash is a SHA-512, and here is the password for it. I love you one. Okay, so we're gonna copy that. And that was pretty easy to find, right? So Greenhorn data settings and pass.php. Now, they probably could have really obfuscated that a little bit more, but it is what it is. Let's move on and try to see if we can log in now. So here we go. Password correct. You're logging in. Awesome. So that worked out for us. We didn't spend too much time on that. But let's see what's going on now. So I'm assuming now we're actually getting into the Pluck CMS dashboard system. So what are our attack vectors? Typically we're looking for like a settings for maybe uploading a picture or uploading a file, anything like that where we can get a reverse shell. Because remember, our goal is to getting access to servers. So let's start looking for that approach. Now we're getting a bunch of different things here: view site, start, pages, maybe in the manage files, modules, options. I like starting with the options. Let's go in there. Let's see. So general settings, manage modules, manage settings, choose theme. I'm assuming maybe modules. And the reason why I'm looking at modules before anything else is because maybe they will be executable versus the other ones, because I'm not sure the themes if it will actually execute whatever command injection we're trying to attempt. But if we're trying to install a module and there's no type of like sanitation or validation in the module that we're trying to install, and it has that reverse shell in it, what I'm hoping for is it will actually execute and get us a foothold through that. So that's why I'm thinking in the module, but I'm not seeing. Let's see in the change password. Okay, so change password is just the password itself. I was hoping for maybe like a picture or anything like that, because we've done that in the past with some other boxes where we got a reverse shell that way. But I'm not okay. Install theme. So that's another option, installing the theme. But going back, let's try the modules and see if this works. If we're rabbit holing or it's not working out for us, then we can move on to the themes and probably managing files, or maybe going through like the page and seeing if we could do something like that. All right. So here in the manage modules, we can add modules to the website and we can install a module. So that's interesting. I'm wondering, what is the difference? If you notice here in the bottom left, there is like an action indicator for these two. So let's try installing a module. And it looks like we are getting some type of like file upload attack vector now. So maybe we can then do a reverse shell this way. So I've downloaded PHP Monkey and I've renamed it to shell PHP to keep it nice and easy to remember. And let's go ahead and I'm going to nano the shell PHP and let's take a look at it. So this is Pentest Monkey, and it is a reverse shell implemented by PHP. Remember when we were going through the website, we know Pluck and the whole content management system is built on PHP. So this is going to align with the infrastructure. And here we've changed the IP address. You can see my IP address in the top right. I've added my IP address and I've added the port that we want to run our netcat under. So I'm going to save this, exit out. And now we can go into a new window. And now we need to start our netcat. So let's go ahead and CD back into the HackTheBox GreenHorn. And I'm going to clear it and run a netcat under the 1234 port. And that's now listening for our reverse shell. And okay, so we got our shell PHP. Let's go back to the website and we're going to select it. We are in the HackTheBox GreenHorn file. So I'm going to select the shell PHP and let's hope there is no whitelist or blacklist type of validation on this upload. Let's see. In this case, okay, we're getting back installed failed. The file you specified is not a file. So that we ran into a roadblock. We ran into some type of whitelist, blacklist validation for our file. So not going to be so easy, but there is a trick with content management systems that sometimes they elude. And I'm assuming since this is an easy box, this is probably the route to go. Let's, since we're installing modules, let's wrap it around into a zip file. And what I'm doing is I'm assuming because naturally modules need to be installed somehow, they're typically very large in nature, right? They got a lot of different code base in their file structures. And what do? They need to zip that down. So generally that will probably bypass this filter. So what we're doing is we're taking our reverse shell, we're going to zip it up and then install it that way. And let's see if we can bypass those filters. So we need to go back into our terminal here. We just need to simply zip the shell PHP into a shell zip file. And let's see if that will work. So it is deflated by 59%. It is being shrunk down. And now we can go back into the website and we will select the shell zip file. And let's see. There we go. So the module has been installed successfully and it looks like something went wrong. Failed. This is quite common, but not fatal. A connection refused. Let's take a look at our netcat. Okay, so we did get our foothold. So we were able to access it. So that is awesome. If I do a who am I, we are WW data. If I do an ID, there we go. We get some ID information. Now we need to stabilize our shell. So need to be very careful now because I've done this in the past. My prefix for tmux is set to Control A. And then you hit C to open up a new window. So I don't want to fat finger it and hit Control C and close out of this. So I'm going to open up a new window. I'm going to CD back into the GreenHorn, clear it. And now I'm going to do a breakout. And breakout is simply a flat file that is saved on my Kali Linux that I am just simply aliasing through. And this is just hard-coded text that I can simply just copy and paste to upgrade my TTY, my reverse shell this way. So I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to export the path. Boom, boom. Export the color, the term. And now I'm going to do this. Okay. Control Z. And there we go. So now I can Control C without worry. Oh, I can clear it. I can LS. I can do a number of things. But now we're in with www data. So let's go into the home, and we have, it looks like, two folders, a Git, which is normal, we understand that, and junior. So it looks like our let's actually cat. It looks like our user is here junior. So, and he has a bin bash. So it looks like that is probably the only other one other than root. We need to figure out, can we pivot into junior? Now this is a long shot, but remember we were able to get that one password, and we know password reuse is pretty common in the real world. So let's try using that password. I believe it was what, the like I love you one. I think that was it. Let's try that and see if we can actually prevesk into junior with this password reuse. So I'm going to sudo junior and I love you one. And we were able to get access to junior this way. So that is awesome. Let's go into junior folder, and I'm assuming then we can probably cat the user flag that way. But let's take a look. We're seeing here, let's do an LSLA. Okay, we're seeing the bash history being thrown to dev null. That's pretty standard. We're seeing also a catch. But the thing that kind of stands out to me is especially this, like when we see things in the home folder, that's like a huge indicator of like, this is the direction we need to take. So it's a PDF file. I'm assuming I probably won't be able to open it in this reverse shell. So we need to figure out a way of actually downloading this file from this system. So we're going to do an exfil, right? We're exfilling some data now. We need to set up either probably a Python server, because we know there is Python on here. We remember we upgraded our reverse shell with Python 3. So we know Python 3 is on here. Let's set up a Python server, host this one file, download it on our attacking Kali home system, and then take a look at this PDF file before we rabbit hole anything else, because sometimes I like throwing limpies on here and running that. But if there's such a clear indication that this is the direction we need to go, let's go down this direction first before figuring out, do we need to go into like the Git files, or do we need to find any databases or any other vulnerabilities through this? So we need to download this file, and let's do that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear it, and I'm going to set up that Python server. All right, from here, we'll do a Python 3M HTTP server, and we will run it on port lead. Let's do that. So there we go. So the contents of the folder where I'm hosting this server are being able to download it. So we can go now into, let's go into our fifth window, and we are in the greenhorn. Let's go ahead and do a wget. So here is the command wget on the port lead, because remember, we're hosting the contents of it. And here we need to be very specific on the naming structure to download this with the wget. So we're actually using the %20 for a space where URL encoding that space in this wget request, because the file has in its name a space, right? That's why you see those single quotations around that file name. It's actually using space openvaz.pdf. That's probably like a Windows naming structure, definitely not Linux, but we are including that space URL encoding it. So let's go ahead and do that. And there it goes. So we now downloaded it. We exfilled some data from the server by hosting the Python server on the attacked machine, and we were able to download that. All right, now that it's downloaded, let's confirm it. So there it is. We have the file. Let's go ahead and now open it. So let's take a look at this PDF now. Hello, Junior. We have recently installed OpenVAS on our server to actively monitor and identify potential security vulnerability. Currently, only the root user, represented by myself, has the authorization to execute OpenVAS using the following command. Okay, so we're given a command that we can potentially use. Enter the password. Okay, that is a very long password, and it looks like it's pixelated. Okay. Blah blah blah, so forth and so on. Mr. Green. Okay, Mr. Green. So you gave us a pixelated password. So we need to figure out how to depixelize this so we can get this password. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can actually just save this file, or I guess image. It looks like it is an image. I'm going to go into the greenhorn and I'm going to save it here. So let's do password. I'm going to save it. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's see if that worked. It did work. Okay. And all right, so it looks like we were able to get that whole password. It looks like that password itself is just a picture in the PDF file. So that's awesome, I guess, because that's going to help us figure out how do we depixelize this. So we need to ask Dr. Google now, how do we depixelize this? So let's go into Google. What is it? Depixelize image. Let's try that. Let's see what pops up. Okay. Depixelize image. Let's try with GitHub. Depixelate. Let's try that. Depixelate. All right, so we're getting some GitHub stuff. Let's take a look. The first one, depixelization. Okay, so here we go. So we're getting a POC, a proof of concept for Depix. Now we need to figure out how to download this and run it. So let's take a look. We're looking for the installation here. Okay, install the dependencies, run Depix. And it looks like here is an example of how to run it. Example usage, Python 3. So it's a Python script. And you're indicating with the P flag for the image. So I'm assuming then the password, and it's using something else. All right. So we need to, I think we need to download this entire depixelization proof of concept. So I'm going to go ahead and download the zip, and I've already done that. And I can show you here. I have the depixelization proof of concept main, and I'm just going to simply just unzip the entire thing, and let's take a look. Okay, so it created its own folder, which we can CD in there, and let's clean this up. All right, from here, before going back to the site to see how to run the command, I'm going to take a look through these files to see, okay, what is it doing? So it looks like it's just referencing a bunch of different images, and it's using some Python. Okay. All right. So let's go here and figure this out. So we're going to copy this entire thing because I'm assuming then it's using the images, search images here for this, and it's outputting it into another file. So it's taking the file that we're submitting, and it's referencing it through the Python script, through another image, and then it's going to output it. So all right, let's paste that command in, and we do need to change it around a bit. So we need to change this password, right? Password PNG, and we need to change the path to your image. So home, Kali, HackTheBox GreenHorn. That looks accurate. And let's do the same thing here, right? We're just gonna copy this and delete all this. There we go. So we want it in the same path. So from there, I think that looks good. All right, so we're running Depix, where we have the password file in the Greenhorn folder, and we're going to output the file in the greenhorn as well. So let's go ahead and run that. And it looks like it's running correctly. So it's doing its thing. It's trying to unpixelate it. My computer is getting pretty loud right now, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to speed it up and then we can go from there. All right, there we go. So it finished and it saved the image in the other file. So let's clear this. Okay, there it is. So the output image. So we want to open it and let's take a look at it. And it did its job. So it depixelated that pixelized password. Still pretty pixelated, but at least now we are able to figure out what that password is. So there is the password for the root. So we need to figure this out. So side from side, the other side. So maybe there is no dash. So we're there, side from side, the other side. All right, so maybe that's the password. Let's try that. Root. Authentication. All right. So maybe it's not capital T. Let's try lowercase t. Root. Here we go. There we go. So we got root. That's awesome. Okay. Now we can ls, we could cd into root, and oh, that's interesting. There's a cleanup script. So we can cat root flag now. So we got the flag. I'm really curious on the cleanup script. So that's very interesting. Let's take a look at this. All right. Very cool. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this fun little walkthrough. So I had a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed this type of content, please smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.